10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion. And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
This is Joey Mack. No, I'm not Joey Mack. I'm Terry Johns. Joey is still down in the desert, recovering from a lot of things, I think, last night. Do we have to talk about that? We do. Well, we'll let Dana Altman talk about it coming up. Scotty Phillips is here, and we got a great show for you. We're going to talk about men's basketball, get you ready for the women's basketball weekend. Of course, Cal coming up tonight at 7 o'clock, and then at 1 o'clock on Sunday, it is number 2 and defending national champion Stanford on Senior Day coming up on Sunday, and hopefully some big crowds. We got a big crowd here. Let's hear the applause, right? And the band, they got the band over here, right? No? No band. Okay. All right. Well, here in the Country Financial Studio, as we'll talk about women's basketball, we just did, and men's basketball, the recap. I'll just Joey's recap because he was there. Must-win game, ... didn't. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Close at the half, especially with the stats. They were only down by 6. But despite being outshot by 20% from the floor, had only won 3, but second half it went sideways pretty quickly. Bad from the start. Ducks didn't compete well. Young and Harmon scoring, or lack thereof, as Young at 5:19, second half scored the first points. 5:19 in the second half scored his first points. Harmon, no points, and can't have that. As take a look at stat broadcast over here. 34.5% they shot for the game from the field. 19 of 55, 5 of 26, 19.2% for threes. 14 of 19. Didn't shoot free throws too badly, but got out rebounded about 40-29, and Arizona State is like -6 rebounding on the year. A team you shouldn't have gotten out rebounded by at all, and you got out rebounded by 11. And they had to have it, and it's tough. And, they're working hard. They're trying. Coaches, Dana's scratching his head and just trying to figure it all out. But we'll hear from Dana here in just a minute. It's opening day for baseball. Oregon baseball down in San Diego, taking on UC San Diego. That is coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. And Jordan Brenner will be calling the action for you. And Joey will join him after basketball is all over, and probably a few games when he can in between. But there you go. Those of you watching on YouTube, Twitter, and on Facebook, you can all see that. But listening on the radio, 6 o'clock tonight from Fowler Park in San Diego. And baseball's always kind of an interesting sport. You don't have to be 6'5" to be good. In fact, some of the best ones, when I was a pitcher, have some guy 5'7" that's built like a fire hydrant that has power. And their strike zone's about like that. And you miss it by a half inch, and they're hitting it hard somewhere. And you're like, you like those guys 6'5", because then they got a big strike zone, and you can do some damage with those guys. So it's interesting. I love baseball, and looking forward to that. What spring training is delayed, right, officially? So there you go. College football playoff, 4 more years of status quo. They announced today. George Kliavkoff, Pac-12 commissioner, disappointed. But he's working hard at it, but you got 11 people in there to change it before the end of the TV contract. All 11 has to be unanimous to change it. Now, when there's a new contract, it doesn't have to be. So that's going to be interesting dynamics, how all that works. I've heard George Kleofkoff talk about that, if you can get, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, and the ACC in their alliance, maybe get some group of 5 in there. And, you kind of have to outnumber, I think, the SEC a little bit is what you're going to have to do. They like the way it is, and we can understand why. If they want to expand, what they want is more teams, more SEC teams. But Scott and I, 8 teams, right? That's good. Yeah. 10? I don't like the first-round buys because you're going to end up with the same teams anyway. If that's your goal, to have more participating, which they would earlier, I guess, but to get into the Final Four, I don't know. That's my judgment, but who cares, right? Nobody cares about that. All right, so we'll hear from Coach Wasikowski and some players as well as they get ready. Softball playing right now. Had a 7-3 win over Texas State yesterday, as they are now 6-0 on the year, and just got underway down at Baylor. Have you ever been down at Baylor, Scotty? Waco, Texas. Been there for basketball, not for football, but right outside, across the parking lot of the basketball arena. Nice baseball park, nice softball park, just a smaller version, and they're beautiful. In fact, I know before they built PK Park, I know the group for Oregon, Joe Johnsanti and Pat Kilkenny, they went down to Baylor to kind of look at their facilities. They are that nice. So nice place for them to be. All right, before we go any further here and get the break, let's hear from Dana Altman and get his thoughts from last night with the entire media. This is not the conversation he had with Joey Mack, but the entire media, and you could tell he is just kind of frustrated and really doesn't know, the answers. If he had the answers, he'd fix them. But here's Dana Altman from last night.
Your thoughts on that second half? What happened for it to get away from you guys?
Well, we gave up 3 really easy baskets to start the half, and we got to 12, and we had a couple opportunities to hit shots, and Will had a wide open 3 to cut it to 9, but we just never got any momentum going after that. We didn't shoot it well, but we hung in there the first half, only down 6, even though we had some good looks that we didn't hit. And but the second half, we didn't get any stops, didn't get any rebounds, had 9 turnovers. It was just a real poor performance.
The offensive struggles combined with the defense, is this shocking knowing what was at stake and just this late in the year?
Well, we really haven't played well offensively the last, the 3 games at home. I didn't think offensively our flow was very good, and the ball movement's really bad. That's on me. I mean, I can't get them to run anything. And but that being said, when somebody shoots 58% against you and out rebounds you by 11, I'm not sure what you run offensively is going to make a difference. So it was all 3 phases of the game. We didn't shoot it well the first half, but we stayed in it. We only turned it over 3 times. We stayed in it, but second half, 9 turnovers, no stops. I think the whole tone was set. First 3 buckets we gave up, just real easy, no contest, just not enough energy. So
how do you just judge the team's mindset right now? Just the 2 losses in the last 3 games.
Well, they're very similar. We got out rebounded, outworked. I wish I could be more politically correct but we got outworked. And for a team in that position, that's really disappointing. So I'm not sure what to say. We've got obviously a very tough stretch coming up. We're going to have to bounce back and have to try to, get their heads right. But we haven't played well really the last 4 ball games, I don't think. Just our ball movement, execution just hasn't been very good. And we've been out rebounded. And so just a bad combination.
You're the coach with 3 straight ranked opponents coming up. What's going to be the keys for these next few games and the last 5 games of the regular season?
Well, just as I mentioned, all phases of the game, offensively, defensively, and rebound. So, there's not any one thing. It's a combination of a number of things. And as you mentioned, we've got very tough opponents coming up, and we're going to have to play a lot better.
Yeah, Danny, you've talked about the ball movement and not playing well offensively. Particularly just the 3-point shooting has been so off the last 4 games. What do you attribute that to, and what can you do to fix that?
In the first half, out of the 13, we charted those, and 11 of them were decent looks. 2 of them were, forced, I thought, but we had 11 decent looks. We went 1 for 11 in those looks. The second half, I thought there was one point where we kind of worked back and we got an offensive rebound, kicked it out to Will for a wide open one that would have cut it, to under 10. And, we didn't hit it. So I think we're a better shooting team than that, but, we had been shooting at 36, 37%, and it's really slipped here the last few games.
Where is the biggest disconnect, do you think? Because I know you're going to put the onus on yourself after all, but you can't go out there and shoot the ball. And you've harped about defense. I mean, that's you. That's who you are. So it's not just about offense or ball movement. Allowing a season high shooting percentage and one of the highest in 3 years for ASU and 19 assists in the kind of second half that they had, that's not you, and that's not this program. So where is the disconnect, do you think, in terms of this is a veteran group? Where's the pride amongst the group to not allow some of this?
That's a good question. And, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of calls and texts from former players tonight and tomorrow asking the same question. I don't know, James. If I did, I would, massage it as much as I could. But, our energy level, was not what it should be. Our connection defensively is awful. And getting beat 11 on the boards, that's just effort, and so there is a disconnect. I'm disappointed in myself that we haven't been able to get more out of them, because I know we're a better team than what we just demonstrated. And so, again, I hope like heck tomorrow, they'll bounce back and we'll figure out a way to compete on Saturday night.
Danny, you talked about it earlier, but in the last 4 games, you guys are 22 for 94 from 3, which is 23%. What's your message to the guys when you're in that kind of shooting slump? Are you telling them to, keep shooting those and just hope that they eventually go down? Or at what point do you kind of say, hey, we need to find some looks that we're going to make and that we know we can make?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. You really got to look for good ones. That's the first thing. You got to make sure you like the shot. And I think, our guys get a little aggressive at times, and especially when they're not shooting well. And that's a judgment thing. And as I mentioned, we had been shooting it very well, but these last 4 games, we haven't shot it nearly as well. And a lot of that's Will. He was leading the conference in shooting, and then he hasn't shot it nearly as well. And it's kind of, like with them tonight. They shot it really well because they start going in and everybody got involved. And so, we've got to be a little bit more selective. We got to make sure we got good ones to get started. That's where your confidence, making sure you got a good one. But, our ball movement to get better shots, got to get better. Our inside people got to demand more of a presence. And, it's not one guy, Zach, it's everybody. And so it's got to be a team thing.
All right, there you go. Dane Altman with the media last night after the game. And frustration, I don't even know what word to call it, but he's at wit's end. And we know Dana can turn teams around. He does it every year. And this one just isn't quite getting there. They have, at times, one down at UCLA and USC on the weekend. They're going to get them again coming up next week, I think, at home. They got third-ranked Arizona and Tucson tomorrow. Probably have to win out these final 3, those 3, to even still be talked about in the NCAA tournament. Otherwise, probably a loss in any of those. You got to win the Pac-12 tournament to get in. That's the way it's going to be. And with Dana coaching them and the talent that's there, it could be, but it's not looking good. But they're obviously going to have to play better. The urgency, I think that was what was so most disappointing. I mean, Dana Altman, they're not running the sets. You just see a lot of one-on-one, and that's not Dana Altman basketball. You know that. Women again tonight, 7 o'clock against Cal, and then the senior day against Stanford coming up on Sunday. Coming up next, Greg Walker, outstanding sports information director, now traveling with softball. And he got a couple conversations with Coach Lombardi and with Allie Bunker, who hit a home run yesterday in that 7-3 win over Texas State. We'll have that for you coming up next, as this is Duck Insider here on a Friday. Terry for Joey. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s, like go back to college, learn to skateboard. Whoa. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. At aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a free 3-minute chat with the friendly digital retirement coach, Avo, and receive personalized tips to help boost your savings. Start chatting with Avo today at aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Country Financial Studios. Terry Johnson for Joey Mack, who's down with Oregon men's basketball as they moved on to Tucson today. Do we have the live cam again of him, Joey, down in Tucson? Oh, there he is. That looks just like the one in Tempe. Still eating Carl's Jr. Where's he again? Okay, I didn't know he was so hairy. He's pretty hairy. Yeah, he is. He looks good. Yeah, Joey does a great job. We'll get another text. We got one yesterday. We can't tell you what he said. We love you, Joey. We love you, buddy. All right, softball, a big win, 7-3 over Texas State yesterday. They're already underway down at Baylor. I think it's 4 games against Baylor, isn't it? I think a doubleheader today. Started just a short time ago, scoreless in the second, last we heard. But yesterday, got that big win. And let's hear from head coach Melissa Lombardi first.
We're with Coach Lombardi after tonight's nice win, road win at Texas State. Tough win, tough opponent, Coach, but your team kind of found a way after they figured some things out early on.
Yeah, for sure. I thought McKenna did a great job on the mound. They've got a powerful lineup, and I love how she handled them pretty well. it took us a little bit at the plate to get some things figured out, but then once we figured things out, we were able to knock out their starter and get to 2 more pitchers after.
It seems like your team did a really good job of keeping the pressure on, but even though early when the runs weren't coming, they were always kind of putting Texas State in a dangerous position, and that ended up paying off down the road.
I definitely, we weren't getting exactly what we wanted, but they did put pressure on by putting the ball in play and forcing some errors on the other side. And then from there, once we settled in the plate, we kind of figured out our plan. I felt like you started to see us hit the ball hard.
Talk a little about Allie Bunker. You know, she just came up so many times last year and does it again today.
Yeah, I think her first 2 at-bats, you know, they were tough, but then to see her come up and that last at-bat be on time for what she wanted and to hit that ball out was pretty cool.
And then good to see Rachel Sid back out there, you know, a mainstay in the lineup for the past 2 years. Really good to see her back.
Very good to see Rachel Sid. She's somebody that's just, you know, been with us since day one, so to have her back in the lineup, it felt good.
And a quick turnaround, playing Baylor tomorrow. What's the goal going into the doubleheader tomorrow?
I think with that, just, you know, our approach at the plate, knowing what we want, our pitchers settling in, and just defense playing tough. They're a great team. They're explosive. They run. They do the short game well, and they always have great pitching.
All right, terrific. Good luck tomorrow.
All right, there you go. Head coach Melissa Lombardi, and a 7-3 win yesterday over Texas State. Allie Bunker, second baseman, had a big 2-run homer yesterday. Let's hear from her.
The big 2-run home run, tonight's win over Texas State. Allie, how'd the game go tonight for you?
I think the game went really well. I think at the beginning we were kind of slow to get our bats hot, but as the game went on, we found our groove, we made our adjustments, and we were able to pound strikes at the end of the game, so I was really happy to see the team come together. 6 runs in the last 3 innings. Was that a result of kind of the pressure that you were putting on Texas State, and also what you talked about, kind of being patient and figuring out and then making those pitches, doing what you wanted with them? Mm-hmm. Yeah, towards the end we knew like we had to come back and score a lot of runs against the team because they were swinging a hot bat as well, and they were getting hits off of our pitchers, so I think we knew we needed some run assurance as the game went on.
You played a lot of games with Rachel Sid in your career. How good was it to see her back at third base tonight?
It's really nice having another veteran and someone who's played alongside me the past 4 years out in the infield, because sometimes when you have a lot of new faces on the infield, it's hard to, you know, keep up with everybody and figure out what's going on. But when Rachel's out there, that's one less person that we have to all come together and figure it out with.
Last question. Talk about the home run. What pitch were you looking for? What'd you get? And it went a long way.
I was just looking middle all the way. I was expecting it first pitch, and I just saw it and I attacked it.
There you go, Allie Bunker, the second baseman. 2-run homer yesterday, and see what damage she can do today. Many of you got out and tried to hit those pitchers. They used to have a media day. Do they still do that and have the TV media and everybody come in and they try and hit one of those pitches, and it's coming fast. They're not very far away, and it's moving. And, yeah, you wouldn't touch it if it's always kind of fun. Then it gets on TV, gets publicity. All right, coming up next, we'll get you ready for baseball. It's the season opener coming up at 6 o'clock. And, yeah, have all the action. Jordan Brenner on the radio. And I understand, I think there's a link now. If you look on softball on social media, I think there's a link for a stream for West Coast Conference, if I'm not mistaken. So check that out. Check that out. All right, we'll have that for you coming up next. Duck Insider, Terry for Joey, back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, everybody. Duck Insider, Terry for Joey, and Joey down with Oregon men's basketball as they move down to Tucson and getting ready for the number 3 Wildcats, the Arizona Wildcats at McHale Center coming up tomorrow. Joey will have all the action for you. Jordan Brenner will have all the action for baseball. Season opener, 5:45. We think it's the pregame show. 6 o'clock first pitch coming up tonight from San Diego. Ought to be a good time and good for Jordan. Good to have him on the team. Absolutely. And on the team and running the ship is Coach Wasikowski. And he talked earlier this week to kind of preview the season and what's coming up, what to expect from his team. Let's hear from Waz.
What's preseason look like so
far? It's been great. You know, I think the team's fairly healthy, very healthy, and it's been spirited with good competition. And, you know, knock on wood, the guys will play like we've seen them play in scrimmages and practices leading up to where we are right now. It's been really competitive and really fun to watch.
When you had the most holes to fill in the pitching rotation, how'd you end up settling on the guys you did, and why Maier ends up getting the opening day start?
It was pretty simple stuff. The best guys, the guys who did the best, got the starting nods. And so Maier, he'll go first, Mosiello will go second, Aon will go third, and Brandenburg will go fourth. And it seems like there's quite a few options in the bullpen that I think we'll like, and in the game with Somers as usual.
What did Maier do to convince you that he's that number 1 guy in the last 2 weeks?
I'm sorry?
What did Maier do to convince you he's that number 1 guy in the last 2 weeks?
Well, he's got great stuff and great ability, you know, and he just pitched really well. He threw a ton of strikes. His stuff was really hard to hit. He seemed very composed and poised, and so he just checked all the boxes like a Friday night starter would, and so he earned it.
What are some of the intangibles for a Friday night starter that you want to see beyond them just having good stuff in their arm?
Well, just being able to handle the game, you know, really being able to slow things down, especially at this level. It gets a little quick sometimes. You know, Adam's a new guy to the level, and most new guys to the level, it takes them a little while to figure it out. And so hopefully Adam won't take too long to figure it out because we're rolling him out there on game 1. But he's obviously, for him to have earned that spot, he's pitched very, very well. And so it's been exciting to watch.
New starting rotation, how have they been working in their relationship with Jack and the rest of the catching staff?
Well, very well, and there's a lot of competition at that catching spot. We do anticipate Scanlon to be the guy who goes out with Maier on Friday night, but Josiah Cromwick's done a tremendous job. Anson Arrows has done a tremendous job. Bennett Thompson has done a tremendous. I mean, all of our catchers have done really well. The only kid who would not be available is Logan Postian right now, who's been out with an injury, and he's extremely talented. When he gets back, there'll even be more depth. But it's been a lot of fun at the catching position. There's definitely some options.
How does your strategy change in a 4-game series as opposed to the typical 3 games?
That's a great question. It doesn't change a whole lot, still same objective, but the key is that obviously you've got 4 games and 9 innings at least to be able to cover, and so early in the season, pitching arms and stuff like that, one of the factors that you don't have late in the season is the fact that those guys aren't built up to where they can go 100 pitches or something like that on an opening weekend start. So utilization of the bullpen, being able to manage the bullpen best, just with where the arms are and their ramp up time is really important to where we don't get a guy hurt.
Seems like there's going to be a fair bit of competition at several spots throughout the field. Are there one or two battles that you're going to be paying attention to closely in the first weekend of the season?
Yeah, good question. I think the catching spot I've hit on, it's a really good battle that's going on there. And then on the third base spot between Sam Nowitzki and Drew Cowley, I could also swing into the second base spot with Gavin Grant and Drew Cowley. Cowley's a transfer from Cal Poly Pomona that's done very, very well. He's a very offensive-minded second baseman, but he can also play third base. He played all summer at third base, and it was a college shortstop. So he's played very well at shortstop as well. So this kid's a talent. And he's been screaming, put me in the lineup as well. So we've got some good decisions in front of us to make.
Going off of positional battles, you have Jacob Walsh listed at first base. He's a lefty, obviously. He's the only listed first baseman for right now. There's no Orrs. Do you see that you'll ever go to a platoon option with him and moving somebody in as a righty going against a lefty? Or are you comfortable with his approach against lefties?
He's been really good, and there's other players that could easily play first base for us and do during scrimmages and practice. We've got good competition over there as well. I think Jacob, though, hopefully we don't need to platoon a whole lot, or we don't have to need to juggle him in and out of the lineup. He's a talented kid that we'd like to see him develop, and he's earned those stripes too.
Are there any players in particular that you're looking forward to maybe seeing a little bit out of this series, especially considering it's first series of the year?
Well, I think quite a few. I think that's the biggest key for us is, we lost 3 of our best hitters with Jovan Matthews and Zavala, and so those guys need to be replaced. That's not easy to do. Those are really good hitters. And so guys that, Josh Kasevich, he looks like he's probably not going to be a guy that's going to be juggled in and out. Tanner Smith's got a lot of rope. Anthony Hall's done very, very well. He's got a lot of rope, amongst others. But, those key guys I would feel like would definitely have some rope to fail, let's call it. Some of the other spots, not as much rope, but still yet. There's just good options that we have. I really credit my staff. They've done a nice job of putting some options on the table for us to be able to choose from, and the kids have played very, very well.
Have Bryce or Kolby separated themselves at center, or is that going to rotate? Or?
It's depending on the day. They both bring their strengths, and so I'm still not sure who would start on opening night. Both of them have been very, very good.
How will you define success this weekend, other than 4-0? Yeah. What are the things you're looking, like you talk about, replacing the hitters or the pitching rotation? What are those things that you look at and say it was a successful trip if you do what?
Well, you don't want to come out injured. That's for sure. You want to come out 4-0. Those would be fantastic indicators of how things are going to go. But you just really want to play well and get your eyes off the wins and loss column and just really play well and see the kids develop. And some of these guys are just going to have their first college at-bats under their belt after this weekend, and so how they handle stuff. Really looking forward to seeing the dugout and how the dugout responds to most of the times things that stink, not things that are a lot of fun. That's usually what you got to manage more than the easy times when things are going really well. So pretty much just want to see the guys play well this weekend. I want to see them play with energy, which I don't think will be a problem on opening weekend for sure. And then obviously how they handle success, but more importantly failures.
You've been a head coach for a while now. Have you settled kind of into a system of how to juggle that early season of trying to get wins, but also trying to rotate in guys and see what you have at a variety of positions?
Yeah, I tried to pay attention a lot of years with Andy Lopez and George Horton. Tried to pay attention when I was a longtime assistant, and now I'm starting to get into my days as head coaching, and so we like to think that we've got a pretty good handle on that kind of stuff too, and it's more of a mix of both of those two systems, what we try to use and see what they did well and what we want to put on our individual kind of stuff with me and my staff. So it's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun getting the opportunity to work at a great place like this with the staff I have. It's fun to come to work every day.
Pretty cool that Tommy Brandenburg, his first taste of collegiate baseball is going to be start on Monday. What did he do to earn that spot on Monday?
He's been really, really good. And for us to basically not give the ball as a starter to Caleb Sloan or RJ Gordon, specifically those two guys in that spot in favor of freshmen over those guys, means that he has done that well. And he really has. He's been good. I thought he would be good. I didn't know he'd be this good. He didn't pitch for us this fall. He got injured during the summertime with kind of a freak injury sliding into a base. And so he didn't play for us this fall. And then this spring he's been 100% and full go. All fall long he had an unbelievable attitude. We were really kind of it piqued our interest during the fall when he wasn't playing, but still was able to maintain an awesome attitude. To see him when he was healthy, and now he's healthy and he's done very, very well. So for him to be named a starter on this rotation is really a credit to the work he's put in and the results he's putting out there.
Yeah, can you talk about the challenges that San Diego may present for you and your team?
Well, first off, they're going to be energized. First-year head coach Brock Ungricht, former Stanford guy. He's there as a head coach now at San Diego, so that's going to be an energized young program at San Diego. They've always recruited very well. They've got a great ballpark to play in. And the things that are going to test us is they've got a couple of dominant left-handed pitchers. Their Friday night guy, their first guy they roll out, is a pitchability right-hander that can really throw with good command of his pitches, and his velocity is now spiked to about a 93, 94 mile an hour arm, where in the past he was throwing 86, 88. So they've got three at least really legitimate starters. The Saturday guy, the left-hander they're going to throw on Saturday, Mounts, is going to be scouted very, very heavily. It's going to be a weekend series where I can imagine a lot of professional scouts taking a pretty high interest in with the draft prospects that are on both teams.
Well, this competition is so strong, there's going to be some guys disappointed probably. What's your philosophy as a coach to keep them happy, communicate? Do you let them know they're probably going to be playing this game, or how do you keep them so that they're not upset?
Well, you kind of want them upset a little bit if they're not playing, because that means that they're competitors and they want to be on the field too. You never want somebody happy with sitting on the bench, but you also just need them to be team guys when they are, and I don't have any doubt that any of our guys will be. The key from the coaching staff's part of that is just the communication piece that you hit on. And if we do a great job of communicating with those guys, then they'll understand that maybe opening night start isn't necessarily the final game in Omaha start, which is really the start that you want to strive for. And so, yeah, there's always goals in a player's mind, and that first opening day start is a big deal. We can recognize that. But still yet, it's a long season, a 56-game regular schedule season, and so these kids have plenty of opportunity to get in the lineup.
Outside of Kolby, who do you see being key contributors in the pen?
Well, Dylan Sabia, right-hand arm from Central Connecticut State, that was their closer. He'll pitch in the backside of that bullpen as well. Scotty Ellis has done a tremendous job with Coach Angier in developing his pitches. And a guy that's been here now this is his fourth year, but Christian Schifatelli. He's really impressed us here recently. On top of the guys I've already mentioned, left-handed side, you got Rio Britton, who's got a big arm. Next year he's going to be a heavily scouted player in his draft-eligible junior year. And there's other options there too. So it's a fun time for us, and specifically Coach Angier. He's got some options down there in that bullpen that he can roll out there.
All right, there you go, Coach Wasikowski. Love Waz. It's fun. Baseball's just fun. Go talk to a baseball guy. It's just fun to sit there and talk some ball with him and a lot of people. Tanner Smith, we'll hear from the outfielder coming up next as we continue here on Duck Insider. Terry for Joey. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too. Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Terry for Joey. Baseball, the season opener tonight in San Diego. 6 o'clock first pitch, 5:45 pregame show with Jordan Brenner on the call on the radio. Tanner Smith, outfielder. We got some players here, so we're going to go rapid fire here as fast as we can and get as much in as we can. But let's hear from outfielder Tanner Smith.
Tanner, with all the work you guys did in the fall and in this preseason, how much do you feel like you know about your team already, and how much is still to be determined as you start the season?
I think, as the fall as it goes, and when we got back in the winter, we really started to click as a team. And that only grows when you get into season, when you get into travel trips, and you start really growing as a team when you get those long days and those long games. I think we're pretty close already, but there's more to come.
Sense of the team identity, what strengths of this group are?
Yeah, I think this everybody right now before we start the year is really starting to realize that the talent this year is arguably better than it was last year. We all realize how good of a team we can be and the full potential for each player. So I think finding our identity and click into that, I think we're really going to take off as a team this year.
How much do you think it speaks to those guys that you feel like this could be a better team than last year's group, and you lose Kenyon, you lose Robbie, and you lose a ton of talent?
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough, and everybody knows that. That's a talk of a locker room that you lost your 3 starting pitchers. You lost 3 of arguably your best bats in the middle of the order. And, it's kind of just, instead of replacing them, it's more of just how can we all play to our role and just kind of fill it from there. And a lot of young guys have stepped up, a lot of old guys have developed even more, and we're excited to see where it goes.
You say it's a talk of the locker room. Was there ever any doubt in the locker room? Was there always confidence, or do you feel like there were points along the offseason where confidence built up as certain guys developed, what have you?
I would say just, in the fall, it was kind of like something you realized, you missed the presence of, 6 big names like that in the locker room. You can tell it's obviously a little different, but this coaching staff's done an unbelievable job of just putting us together, putting us in great learning environments and letting people grow and, kind of find their roles.
How much of an emphasis do you put on yourself to sort of step up and take some of that production that's left in that middle of the order?
A lot. I do. Personally, not just on the stat sheet, but more, off the field and in the locker room is where I need, to put my focus and to try to lead this team. In whatever way I can. If that's, in the middle of the lineup, or if that's, off the field, I'm going to do whatever I can to help this team grow.
Are there many young guys?
Excuse me, what do you think of the fences being moved in?
I love it. It's exciting, for lack of better words, but we're all. I know the hitters are very juiced about it.
What about the
pitchers? We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. What about as an outfielder? Have you had to learn to play?
Yeah, it's definitely a little different. Going back on balls, that wall creeps up on you a little quicker than it usually does. You get 5, 6, 10 steps, a little less than what you usually do on going back on balls. So, we've done a great job. Waz's done a great job with the outfielders, and putting us kind of in a learning environment to get used to that.
Have there been any young guys you've taken under your wing over the offseason?
None in particular. I wouldn't say a single name. I would say, honestly, all of them. I try to be, an older brother figure to as many as I can, and I try to just, lead in whatever way they need for themselves to grow.
During the years of the last administration, we'd hear the talent that the team had, but it was just an issue of executing and putting it together. Right. Last year, you guys get a real taste of that, go to the regional. What's the next step of that natural progression for you guys in the locker room this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, honestly, it's just, taking this program to be player-led, to be player-driven, to let, the players take this program as far as we want. And like I said a little earlier, the talent is just through the roof, and the capability is just unlimited. And so now it's just at a point, where these players and all of us as a team, if we can, push ourselves in the right direction, I think, Omaha's in the future.
You mentioned how much of a cultural shift it is losing guys like Kenyon and 3 big bats, 3 main pitchers.
Absolutely.
What's the biggest thing you've learned about leadership that maybe you hadn't taken into account when you're following those guys to now people are following you?
Right. Yeah, no, that's another great question. I think, just as a freshman, you kind of see how the whole process goes. You have names like Ryan Nelson and Spencer Steer and guys, like last year when you have Gabe and Kenyon and Robbie, just big figures, you kind of just learn what they did right, how they contributed to the team, not only with their play but in the locker room. And I just kind of follow the foundation they put for this program and continue with their roles.
There you go. Tanner Smith, outfielder, is getting you ready for tonight's opener at San Diego, 6 o'clock, 5:45 pregame show. Kolby Somers and Stone Cherby named this week to the watch list for the Stopper of the Year by the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association. Let's hear from Kolby Somers.
Obviously, a lot of attention externally is on having to replace the weekend rotation, having to replace the big hitters in the middle of the lineup. For you guys, what was the process of the course of the offseason of sort of adjusting to those guys not being on the team, not being around the locker room, and then kind of getting a sense for what the identity of this program can be without them going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that we lost a lot of our key players last year. So going in this year, I really didn't know what to expect. I knew that we had great coaches that recruit well and can develop players really well. But it was pretty apparent right when I got here in the fall that we have a ton of talent, and all the guys we lost, we replaced with really talented players that care a lot and work hard, and we have a really good team chemistry going right now. So yeah, I'm just really excited to get the season going.
What's the difference between past off seasons, before what happened last year where you go to a regional and the past is like, all right, let's get there, right? Yeah. Now, what's the off season like when you've now been there and now you're talking about trying to get to the next step and the next step after that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's definitely different. I mean, in the past, our goal has always been to get to Omaha and win a national championship, but I would say in the past it was not as tangible as it is now. We really just wanted to win games and hope to get to the postseason. But after being there last year, I think our expectations and goals are a lot higher. We know what we can achieve. We know we're talented. We know we're really good, and so yeah, our focus and goal is winning a national championship, and it's pretty simple.
Tanner said it's become, or the goal at least, is to make this a more player-led program and a more player-driven culture. Is that something that you guys have seen and have tried to foster this offseason?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely important to, you have your coaches there to help lead the way, but the more that you can have players leading, the better the team's going to be overall. So I think we've had a lot of guys that have stepped up and been leaders on our team, and I think that's always a good sign for success in a team.
How do you try to go about that personally, Kolby, from within your role? Because since you're not an everyday position player, and it's kind of your pen, and you're the returning guy and the guy at the end of it, so you want, in order to go out there every day, they need to do their job. But what do you do from a leadership perspective? Right, he throws that turnaround, but
yeah.
What does that look like for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not a big guy that's going to go out and give a lot of speeches in front of everyone and be all rah-rah, but I'm a guy that likes to lead by example, do things right, talk to guys when they go through failure and how to learn from that failure, because I think that's really important. And yeah, like I said, just being able to communicate at a high level with the younger guys and everyone, just being transparent and helping everyone out the best way we can. So.
What does the changed right field fence mean for you specifically?
It doesn't matter. I mean, both teams are going to be pitching in it. I mean, it's been a very pitcher-friendly park the last 4 years, and I mean, there might be some numbers that change this year, but that doesn't change anyone's mindset. You have to just go out and compete and, focus on doing your job every time you play. And if you start thinking about, oh no, the fences are in, you might give up more home runs or whatever, like, then you've already failed at your task, and it's not going to be a good mindset to have, so that's not the focus.
How does the tangibility of Omaha increase the competition in the locker room and the aggressiveness when people come to practice every day?
Yeah, I would say it definitely just kind of increases. We always work hard, but I think knowing that that's a real possibility, it just kind of makes it that much sweeter, knowing that we can get there, and it increases your motivation levels as a team. Everyone on the team knows that we're talented, and we can definitely get there and we can win it because of our coaching staff and the talent we have and the chemistry we have. So yeah, I would say it definitely increases our motivation levels to work hard every day in the gym and work hard out in the field and just do anything we can to improve as a team.
Regarding the fences coming in, baseball's such a statistically driven game. Do you have a sense for X more runs per game might be scored, or X ERA is good where it was Y last year and now it's...
No, I mean, honestly, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, if I would assume that, numbers would go up a little bit, but like I said, the focus is still just going out there and competing every day, and I haven't really put in the thought as to what numbers are considered to be better with the fences being in. It's just a focus on competing every day, working hard, and doing our job to help each of us win as a team.
Reasonable to say, though, you don't expect the final score to be 12-10 every game or anything like that.
No, it's. I think some people think that it's going to be a massive difference, and I mean it'll probably be a little different, but it's not going to be a huge change where it's just home run after home run. So.
Have you added to your assortment of pitches or improved a certain pitch that you can? I guess it's no secrets. The batters will see it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean I've most of my career I've been primarily a fastball slider guy, and this year it's going to be similar when it comes to that, but I've also developed more comfort with my changeup, so I think you can definitely expect to see that a little bit more, and then also just fine-tuning my fastball command, and fine-tuning my breaking ball where I can shape it in different ways and different counts. If there's early in the count, I might want it to break in a certain way where I can land it for a strike more often than if I'm ahead in the count. Then I might want it to have more depth and be a little firmer. So I feel like I've gained a lot more feel with my breaking ball being that being my best pitch, just to be able to tweak it in different ways that will help me have success.
Has the velocity increased any on your fastball through all the workouts or anything?
A little bit. It hasn't been anything crazy.
How do you feel about the changeup at this point? I know a lot of guys have a love-hate relationship with their changeup.
Yeah, I mean it's felt good. It's still primarily going to be fastball slider for me, but especially when I go, last year I was primarily a one-inning guy, sometimes two, and then there was a few games where I go 3 or 4. Where the changeup comes into play is when I do go 3 or 4 innings. So, facing batters multiple times, having that third pitch is really important. When I'm just going an inning or two, it's usually just go with your best 2 pitches, which is my fastball and my slider. But yeah, so just having that third pitch when you're going out there multiple innings is important. So.
There you go, Ducks closer Kolby Somers, who's on the watch list for closer of the year. That's pretty good. He's pretty good, no doubt about it. By the way, Adam Maier, transfer, will be starting tonight on the mound, and Ryan tells me he throws 97 mean slider, so looking forward to that coming up tonight and all year long, a transfer from British Columbia. We'll come back, wrap up the show, wrap up the week next after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to your Duck Insider, wrapping up the week here. Terry Johnson for Joey Mack. 7 o'clock tomorrow, 6:30 pregame show from the McHale Center in Tucson, Oregon men's basketball. Number 3, Arizona. Can they do it? They've had some pretty good results down there when Arizona was definitely the favorite. Maybe they bounce back. Hey, you never know. Oregon women's basketball tonight against California at Matthew Knight Arena. That pink out game as we raise awareness for breast cancer. And, come, wear your pink. It's always kind of fun, and the players have fun wearing pink. I saw they got some white Nikes with some pink. They were kind of breaking them in as the week went along. Softball going on against Baylor, down 3-0 in that game. Baseball tonight, coming up at 6 o'clock, 5:45 pregame show with Jordan Brenner. And there is a stream. If you link up, go to the schedule. I'm sure that you can link up or go to any social media for Oregon softball, and you can link up. I think it's West Coast Conference TV, something like that. So you can have that, turn it down, and listen to Jordan making his debut as a voice of Oregon baseball. Joey Mack will be joining him in between basketball games, and also joining him after basketball season is over, and ought to be a great year. Sounds like a great year coming up. Women's lacrosse today at 2 o'clock here, just about ready to get underway. They're back in Georgia. Got a couple of matches back in Georgia. Now, we told you about baseball. All right, it's not going to let me go here. We'll scroll down, and women's basketball, we got that. Women's tennis tomorrow against Seattle at noon over at the Tennis Center. Men's tennis, they're down in San Diego as well. And that's going to wrap up the show. Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom! Come to the forest where the more